Hi everybody, welcome to World Without Rule of Law and the Southern Virginia Homestead. Today I want to talk about trash and community. Two pretty diverse topics. Thanks for coming along. So today, I don't know if you can see the trailer there, I'm hauling a bunch of scrap, trying to clean out my tractor lean-to, the basement, had my old washer and dryer, got the water heater down there, and last week I attempted to clean out this tractor lean-to, and I encountered a 5-foot black snake. I do not like snakes. So I abandoned that project, came out here today because it's about 45 degrees and I'm hoping that's, cold enough to drive them underground. Thinking it is. If not, it's getting close. I got my eyes peeled and I got the snake shot in my 9mm, so I feel pretty comfortable. Although I don't want to kill him because he's a black snake and they kill other snakes and eat rodents and stuff like that, so from what everybody says, they're generally good to have around, and so I'm not going to kill him unless he's attempting to kill me, which as soon as I see him I have to automatically go to that default. But just kidding, maybe not. Anyway, so I want to talk a little bit about community. I know we've been talking a lot about that lately, but it's always there, right? So being alone, have my wife down here with me, I could use a hand sometimes, right? Like lifting the water heater onto the trailer. Some of this other crap is heavy. Now, that's one level of community. I think I'm okay kind of with that. I got my wife to help me. Got my neighbor. He's a little bit older, but he's willing to help. I help him, he helps me, type of thing. That's a level of community, right? I got people at church I could ask to help that would gladly help me. But then, on a deeper level, I'm coming to the realization that, I'm never gonna be part of a real community, like a real prepper community. And so on two levels, like that's okay, that's not okay. But on the other hand, it has to be okay because it's just the way it is. And like a preparedness guru that I listen to on YouTube says quite often, do the best you can with what you have, where you are. Words to that effect. And so that's true, right? Because okay, I want to have, a certain level of community. I'm going to kind of put that aside a little bit because I really don't want to go down that road. Although I'm realizing that's not going to happen for me. So then, what do? You do nothing. And so, there are resources, labor and financial resources that a pooled community could really, benefit. Let's just throw this out there, right? I don't have a huge lot, but I've got, a little bit of a lot. I got this back lot. I could throw a shed up. Somebody could live in if they had to, a tiny house. I have two friends that I prepped with pretty regularly when I lived in Connecticut. Both of them had been offered the opportunity to do that. Throw a shed and pre-position some supplies, and then, are we on 180 acres in the middle of nowhere? No. to a certain degree, it's certainly better than living in Torrington, Connecticut. So you got to go in layers, right? Would I like to have, you know, a better property than this, more land, retreat type thing? Yeah. Is that going to be in my cards with the position I'm in life now, busted up back, getting older, you know, fixed income? Probably not. So you do what you can with what you have, where you are. And this was affordable, and it was a step in the right direction. It's not the ultimate prepper location, but it's way better than where I was. And so those guys that I prep with, they were offered to come out here. They just have what they have in the city. And it comes down to commitment, right? They don't want to make the commitment. And you know what? That's not an indictment on them. That's up to them. I think it just shows like they were never really serious about it to begin with. Like, I think prepping was just a cool idea for them, and they put away a couple buckets of food and 10,000 rounds of ammo and 7 different rifles. And, you know, one of them's got, you know, the tactical vest with the plate carriers and the, you know, all the cool stuff. You got night vision, optics, and whatever. And hey, that stuff's, there's nothing wrong with that stuff. But he's got about 3 weeks worth of food and no way to filter water. Hey, listen, I lack a lot of things too. Like, so I'm just, you know, putting in perspective, like, where's your commitment? Now, he's still working. He's making the money I was making before I came down here. And he's chosen to go in one direction and call it prepping. Really, he's just a gun enthusiast, in my opinion. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. But when I say to him, hey, listen, put a shed here, pre-position some food here. You know, things happen, you can come here. Because, hey, it's a two-way street, right? I'll share this property with him because it would be nice to have help doing things. And even more as the day approaches, right? When we're in that grid down scenario and we have to haul water from the brook or whatever because, you know, a $1,600 simple pump isn't in my budget and probably never will be. So I have to realize that's one of those dreams that's probably never going to come true. But now, if there were others, if there were a few people involved, let's just look at those 2 guys I prepped with. That wasn't a big group, it was 3 of us. And so if we pooled our resources, we could even buy a bigger piece of property, you know, or whatever. But see, you know, I've broached that subject with them that the commitment's just not there. And so I have to come to terms with that, and I have to separate from that and say, okay, you know, I have to move forward. If you guys don't want to move forward, that's got to be okay, because everybody does what they want to do, right? I'm not the judge of humanity. It's not up to me to tell them what to do. But there's a point where we have to diverge direction a little. So I'm down here, right? I talked to a few people at church about prepping. They look at me like I got 3 heads. They're great people. Don't get me wrong, I love them. They're just not on the page. I don't see anybody down here being on that page. Unless that, you know, there are, and they're just keep playing their cards close to their vest because they're looking at me as an outsider, and that could be, you know, that very well could be. The ones that I talked to about it, I don't believe that's the case, just by their reactions. And, you know, I don't think they're prepping. Could there be somebody in the church that's prepping? Maybe. I don't see it. But, you know, I have to realize that more than likely it's going to be me and my wife by ourselves. And that's not, you know, like, that's not a woe is me scenario. It's what it is. You make the best of it, the best you can with what you got where you're at. That's, I guess, what this video is about. Because it can be discouraging when you realize that you don't fit into any group or any kind of like community dynamic at that level. Like I said, there's a neighbor I can call to help me move stuff. He'll help me drag stuff out of my basement, the water heater, when I need him to. And I'll do the same for him. So that's a level of community. But, you know, that's about where it ends. So we have to just realize that, I have to realize that going forward, going to the next level, if I'm ever even able to get there with my own resources. Look at that, a buck running right across the yard. Sweet. Maybe he'll come and spot on the camera. He stopped and looked. I could probably take him down with the 9mm. Wow, that's awesome. Huh. There's something you don't see every day. Sorry about that. So I have to realize that going forward, it's just going to be me and my wife. And so we have to cling to that, do the best you can with what you got where you are, because that's what it is for us. And that's what it's always going to be. And then that's got to be okay. And in a way, like I said, that's not okay. But in a way, I have to find a way to make it okay because it's all we got. And so when you get to that point where you realize there's really nothing else, is it kind of like giving up on that? No, not really, because I'm not going to give up. I'll continue to try to build community. I'll continue to try to, you know, ferret out those people in the church, or, you know, but see, being down here, coming from Connecticut, I'm a little different than they are in certain ways. And I see that, and they're good people, but they look at me like, you know, I'm an alien, kind of. That might be a little hard, but they definitely look at me like I'm an outsider, which I am. I'm an outsider. I'm an outsider here in this state, in this community. Not necessarily in the church, but, you know, definitely down here. There's, you know, again, I don't want this to take a woe is me connotation, but when you have that dynamic where you really don't fit in anywhere, you have two choices. You move forward alone the best you can, or you give up completely. And so giving up completely is not really an option for me. Although with that comes frustration, because when you do the best you can with what you got where you're at, and you see that it's, you know, you're spinning your wheels, you're not getting anywhere, or those progressive increments are super slow and small, then it is frustrating. But again, you got to do it, right? You got to move forward. You got to do the best you can with what you got, where you are, and don't give up. Don't accept defeat. At the same time, you know, you can realize in your mind that you're never probably going to get where you're going. And that's, like I said, that's got to be okay. And in the meantime, I'll enjoy it. I got a beautiful place. I got a wonderful wife. I got a lot of blessings. God gives me a lot of blessings in my life. And He'll give us what we need. He may not give us what we want. He'll supply our need, not our greed, right? I think is how it goes. But yeah, just continue to plug away. Thanks for watching. It is a beautiful, beautiful day here. As I said, it's about 45 degrees. I'm hoping that's enough to keep the snakes underground. I'm going to attempt to clean out the other shed. Let me see if I can show you what I got going here. So there's the stuff I dragged out of the basement. Appliances and whatnot. As I said, I got the water heater. Also, There's wood and some stuff in there. I want to get that out of there. I got some 6x6 beams that are 16 feet long. I'm definitely going to need help moving those. My goal is to get the mowers, the tractor, the leave vac tractor right there, the old Dinosaur Simplicity, and my enclosed ghetto camper trailer, which you may or may not be able to see down there by the house, to get that all under cover between that lean-to and this one over here, which is where I found the snake. And I already loaded up some of the junk in here, but as you can see, there's still some junk. But this is 12 by 20. I was initially, part of my plan called to make this a greenhouse. I was going to take the metal panels off, put the Tough Tex and move it out into the sun. But because storage space for the equipment is at such a premium, I don't believe I'm going to do that. I believe I'm going to keep this for storage. Maybe what I'll do is move the beams and the doors and the windows and stuff I'm going to keep in here and try to get all the equipment down in the other garage. I don't know. We'll see. I'm doing the best I can with what I got where I'm at. Thanks for watching. God bless you.
You must pay for everything in this world one way and another. There is nothing free except the grace of God.